Hey guys, Rihanna here, and I'm your host of Recreate the Conversation. And today we are going to be talking about how I manifested my husband, part two. I kind of wanted to dive a little bit deeper into some of the details of manifestation and the journey that I was on prior to meeting my husband to give you a better picture of what my experience was like. Um, just a note or like a disclaimer, I'm not a guru, I'm not an expert. I'm literally speaking to you based on my personal experience, and it's something that you have to learn on your own. You have to, Google, read, pray about, whatever way you digest information to be able to understand it, because at the end of the day my perception and my specific set of values is going to be different from yours. So just kind of go down your own rabbit hole with that, and you'll see what you find you know so I'll start with the definition of what I feel like manifesting is. In a short form, it's really just bringing the invisible into visibility. That's how I look at it. So, something that necessarily did not exist before in your life, existing in your life after said amount of time. Some things manifest quicker than others. There's no rule to the time, in my opinion. It really is how you focus on it. Because I do feel like manifesting has a lot to do with keenly focusing your mind on something that you want. And like I discussed in my previous video, it's not a focus that's desperate. It's a focus that um, is sure, or is something that's like almost like it's concrete even though it doesn't exist for you yet. So what I mean by that is, when I initially started thinking about the type of man I wanted to be with, I was very specific in what I wanted aesthetically, but also what I wanted in a man spiritually, how I wanted to be led in my marriage. Because I do come from a more traditional background of thinking, the man is the head of the household and things of that nature. Um, so there's that. Now, I thought through what type of marriage I wanted to be in, the type of communication I wanted to have, even though I was still kind of like growing, because like life is continuous, right? You always grow, you're always in a growth moment. So even back then at, I don't know, 19, 20, 21 years old, how I was thinking about what I wanted, obviously it has shifted and changed because I have shifted and changed from that time. And I hope everyone has shifted and changed from their 20-year-old version of themselves. But you know, I thought about, the type of marriage I wanted to be in, you know, what kind of guy he would be, how we would handle arguments. I mean, just things like that. I knew what I didn't want to deal with. I did not want to deal with a man who had children, specific for me. I didn't want that. I didn't want to deal with a man who had been with like several women and, like people say, went through a whole phase. I didn't necessarily want to deal with that. Um, I myself was a virgin. And I had told myself when I was younger, I don't even know why. It's actually very interesting. Because I didn't necessarily have parents who were like, no sex before marriage, and that I did not have that type of childhood. My mom was very kind of open and honest with me about what sex can bring. It can bring babies, it can bring STDs. And I wasn't ever allowed to have a boyfriend throughout high school, which looking back on it, I'm not mad at that at all, because at that age, what I was doing with a boyfriend, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm not mad at that part. Um, I'm probably, if you went back and asked my 16-year-old self, maybe I would have been, but it's fine. But I will say that she wasn't the type who was just no, you must not. And it wasn't like that. And I think that that actually helped me. Oh, that's another episode, because I want to kind of go into like parenting and how that can shape the decisions that your children make. But that's for a different day. But she was open to me talking to her about how I felt about different things. And so that was helpful for me because then I wasn't scared to talk to my mom about boys and liking boys and stuff like that. She wasn't like, you must not like boys and very totalitarian. She wasn't like that. So it was easy for me to talk to my mom. My mom is like my best friend. I can talk to her about stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that was important for me. But I recognize that not everybody has that type of relationship with their mom or their parents in general. So, there's also that. I understand that aspect. But I was a virgin, and so for me, I didn't want to align myself with someone who didn't necessarily value the same things that I valued as it concerned sharing your body and sharing your soul. So because that's how I think about sex. Another episode that we will talk about. So anyway, let me kind of reel back. Let me see. That wasn't even in my notes. Okay, let me reel it back in. But sometimes it just kind of comes out, and I have to share it. And so wherever direction we go in today, we might do a part 3. All right. So just be along for the ride, guys. But anyway, the thing about manifesting, in my opinion, you have to have a specific vision. It can't be, oh, I want to manifest a man. That is too vague, and you will get any man. What type of man? Like, what type of man do you want? What type of energy are you looking for? If you just say, if you put out into the universe, I want a man, that's not enough. You have to be specific, and you have to kind of take your time and think through the things that are of value to you. Do you want a man who is like, do you care that he goes to church? Do you care what his relationship with Christ is like? Do you care if he doesn't? Like, you need to kind of know things like that. What kind of parent do you want him to be if you guys make the decision to have children? Do you want him to be like a stay-at-home dad type? Do you want him to be a provider type and you stay at home? Like, what are you looking for? And I think women would benefit from taking some time to think about the relationship that they get themselves in. I can spend days talking about this. I won't right now, but that's something that we'll get into. So look at that. That's like 3 episodes already to expect from me. Wow. I'm moving. I'm good. I'm good. So anyway, to me, I feel like when you feel, so you have the vision in your mind, you want X, and then you start to feel the emotions of what it would be like to be in partnership with that person. I did that. Before knowing Francis, I thought about what that relationship could be like, and it would be easygoing, and we could joke around. He would get my humor, he would get my antics, because people who know me intimately, I am always like dancing around, joking around, making jokes, laughing loud. And that's who I am in essence. And those who get to see that side of me and can appreciate that side of me, I needed a man to also appreciate that. I like to have fun. I'm a Leo. Leos are the child of the zodiac, and so we're playful at heart, and that's who I am at my core. And so I needed a man who would appreciate that. Going on, I feel like when you start to feel those emotions tied to what it would be like to have that thing, you start to raise your vibration, and that thing can meet you. So then I'll go into the next part of this. So at the time, I was going to a church. It was a Baptist church. I'm not even Baptist, but I was going to a Baptist church. I really liked the preacher, and I enjoyed his message. I always felt like he was very transparent about the word, and it allowed me to grow personally in my walk with God. And so I was attending that church, and I went to a singles class because at the time I was single. And after having gone through that class, I realized that a lot of women and men, single people, get caught up in wanting to be with someone so badly that they forget themselves and their journey in being single, because they are like, I am not complete until I have X. And I also fell into that trap. I think it's easy to. And so after I ended the class, I realized, you know what? And I remember specifically, I remembered I was in my bathroom, and I was telling myself, and I was actually talking to God, and I said, you know, God, if I never get married in this life, and I never have children, and kind of like go down that route, I hope that you would change the desires in my heart, because at the time I did desire to have like a family and things like that, but maybe not as some other women do, because like I said, I wasn't like the wedding dress and the ring, and I didn't really have that kind of fanciful imagination about what I wanted, but I did know that I wanted to be in union with somebody, and I wanted to have a family. And so I just was kind of talking to God, like, if that is not the path you have for me, I accept. I literally, in that moment, I was like, if that's not where my life is going, if I'm led to do something different, and it requires that I am alone, or I'm not alone, that's not the right word, because I'm never alone, but more so it requires that I don't have a companion, then I accept. And I kid you not, it's like the moment that I was okay with whatever plan God had for me, whether it included a man, not a man, whether it included marriage, whether it included children, I was going to be okay, because He was going to give me the desires of my heart. And if His desires were not my desires, then He would change my desires to match His. That's what I felt. And weeks later, literally, not kidding, weeks later, Francis contacted me. And I look back on that experience, and it's just like, wow, it's almost like I can't even believe it myself. Um, but here it is, and here I am. And he's not here right now, he's traveling. I'll be picking him up, but it's just like, I can't believe that I have the thing that I thought about, what I like, the thing that I thought I would have. I have it. And it wasn't there, it did not exist, and now He is here, and He exists in my life. And that's just powerful to me. It's very powerful to me. um so manifesting and what you feel about that is your own journey, but I think a key to it is being very specific about what you want. There's another form of this called scripting. My best friend actually does this, and it's basically, from what I understand, it's basically the same, but you really are writing it down, specifically what you want. You know, man with kids, no man with kids. Do you want kids? What does he look like? What is the energy that he comes with? Is there a certain amount of money that he makes? Is there a certain type of career that he may be in? You know, is he vegan? Is he a meat eater? Does he like to go out to eat? I mean, I don't know. Get as specific as you want. Get as specific as you want. Do you want it to be something where you guys can grow together in certain things? Like, I know for me, my husband and I went on a vegan journey together. We both cut out meat at the same time. It was June 2017. I have since then incorporated meat back into my diet here and there. But when I'm home, I'm 100% vegan. But if I go out and I have something that has chicken, or I have like a burger, I'm not gonna kill myself over it. I've kind of come to that point in my journey, and whereas my husband is still as strict as he was from day one. So it is what it is. Everybody kind of journeys through that differently, but that's where we are with that. And I kind of bring that in to say, like, do you want what do you want in your relationship? Write that out. Do you want to be able to what kind of conversations do you want to have? What kind of conversations are you having now with your partner? Is your partner matching what you want for your future self? I don't know. There's just a lot there that we can unpack. And I think if people spend some time kind of thinking about the things that they want and being specific about it, that they would get the things that they want. That's what I believe. But as that's to my defense, I am a Leo, and so I don't think that anything is out of my reach. I think that I can achieve anything. Um, Literally anything. If I want to become a billionaire in this lifetime, I believe that I can do it. And I have a plan of how I'm going to do it, because that's what manifesting is. You have to build a plan. You have to know how you're going to do it. You can't just be vague. And so for me, I feel like I can do anything. I don't, there's nothing that can limit me except for me. And I ain't gonna limit myself. Sis, you're not gonna limit yourself, right? Right. So, that's a journey, of course, within itself. But, I just kind of wanted to come today and kind of talk about that side of it. And then in part three, because I'm probably gonna do a part three, I'll talk about the initial meet and just that journey. So yeah, we're growing together, learning together. I'm happy that you guys took the time to listen in. Comment below your thoughts, your own personal experiences with manifestation. I would love to learn more about your experience. So thanks so much for joining me on another episode of Recreate the Conversation. Thanks, guys.